Alrighty, everybody. Hello. Oh, crap. Alright, let me shut up that. Alright, I had to kill my desk bot, because that thing has a habit of reading everything. But I'm going to be starting this momentarily. I'm partially waiting on Mac Nuts to be able to join me, but it's one. The subject of this video will be the Afterlife Hypothesis, and it is something that I find interesting, but I'm also not 100% on the idea of the afterlife, and I don't like the term afterlife because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Because people, when they use the term of afterlife, they end up not valuing the life that they have because they're in favor of some afterlife type of idea. And that's where the idea of it, I don't like it. I find it to be, it takes away from the life that we actually have. And it's something that I really feel we would be better off, even if there would be an afterlife, we'd be better off not thinking of it as being real, because there's a good probability that it's not. And the idea that you have to believe something or you'll be tortured in an afterlife really makes no sense. But it's something that the religious like to cling to, but just because they like the idea doesn't mean that it's a valid idea. And it's something that, where the idea came from with my girlfriend was the thought of us being energy. And since I don't have Mac at the moment, I'm going to pull in something that I showed in the video that I did yesterday, that basically I term it as pseudoscience. It is the idea that we have, well, you can read it on the screen. I'm going to get Mac in.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, it's going to let me be on video with you because I'm already on video with my live streaming. However, I will be able to have, yeah, there you are. And I'll be able to put that in. Oh, as long as this doesn't screw up.
Yeah, I've got a handheld device, so...
Okay. Well, I'm trying to go. And now you're in the video, but you guys are able to see the vibrational frequency crap. And that I term basically pseudoscience. And you guys have seen, that's the picture of the swimsuit model that I have up on the wall. So, because you're not going to be able to see it real well there, and you're not going to see it at all with having Mac's picture in the video for him.
Well,
But
actually, so far, I only see my own face.
yeah, that's all that will be seen with Skype, because I have the window that I did pulled instead of the screenshot on the whole Skype window.
Yeah.
So that's where I have that in. But I do want to touch on something else briefly, and that was where, you know, the video that I did the other day on, or about a week or so back, on Brett Keane.
Yeah.
I've had that. I'm going to see if I can do this. And it's one, I'm going to go into that video. Oh, it won't, it's giving me fits. It's doing an internal error type of thing, and I don't know if YouTube's going to let me do what I'm basically. The post he made, it was really stupid, because it was only one word reported, and I'm like, basically, for what? But he has, yeah, there's okay. Yeah, it's not gonna let me, at least I don't think, because I'm over here as well. It would be nice if it would let me go into, because then I could grab a screenshot. Okay. I'm going to try it. Okay, there we go. Now, okay. Let's... Alright, I'm going to have to... There it is. And I will... And you will see this, I think, once I... Okay, I can't really enlarge it too much, so what I'll do is I'll put this over me for now, because you can see what Brett, his one message was reported. And oh, it can show, because I did report him for false flagging under harassment. And he said about reading the TOS, and I'm kind of like, I know what is in the YouTube terms of service, and nothing in the video that I did on his stupid bullshit was a violation of that. And I just think it's kind of funny that he engages in this, and he won't address anything in the video.
Well, of course not.
And he just tries to say, you need to read the TOS and community guidelines. And then you atheists seem to have issues reading issues. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Well, yeah, this is pretty standard stuff, though.
Oh, from him?
He's a particular piece of work.
Yes.
To put it mildly. But he's not as unusual as he thinks he is. He's really quite kind of a boring, middle-of-the-road variety of Christian. His personality is, of course, something else.
Right.
But that, you know. neither here nor there.
Yeah.
That's his problem, not mine.
Yeah, that's something that I'm not really. I just wanted to touch on that briefly because I think it's interesting that someone like him would engage in. Basically, it is stereotypical from what I've seen with Christians is they will accuse you of doing what they're doing.
Oh yeah, that is one of their, it's snakes bite. Christians do that.
Yeah. In that regard, I basically I see it as it is what it is. Now, I have gone through the wait a minute, where did you go? All right. This is weird. All right. It should show you. I mean, I don't know why it's. There you are. I don't know why my Skype was screwing up with my. Anyway, the idea that people like. Well, it's the religious. They cling to their narrative, I guess, because for their own ego, they have to.
There's a variety of reasons why people cling to that. Yeah, and egocentricity is it's part and parcel to the whole Christian idea because it's all about you, God's plan for you, and you getting to heaven.
Yes. Oh,
That's what it's all about.
my Skype name is MrGoodNKinky. I thought I had that in the description bar. No, I don't. Yeah, I do. But yeah, I have my Skype name under in the description bar under Skype.
Yeah.
And it's just something that I don't know why it keeps not having you there, but anyway, it shouldn't. It's a matter of the idea of us being energy beings. I find it interesting, but I don't see, like you had mentioned in the comment section of the video I did yesterday, or I should say this morning on it, was there's no reason to believe, there's no evidence to support the idea. And hi, Free Spirit. Go ahead. Yeah, Mac.
Yeah.
You had said there's no reason to believe in an afterlife, and I agree. Or no reason to believe that this idea that we're energy beings is real. Can you elaborate?
Well, from my own perspective, I have not seen any evidence to indicate that it's possible for any level of consciousness to exist without without a brain. And I mean specifically a brain. As far as we know, everything in our experience, our mind, the identity of who we say we are, who we think we are, the ego, the mind, our thoughts, where we're arguing with ourselves, etc. That is a product of the brain. And it's been demonstrated medically many, many times that if you remove part of the brain, you've also removed part of the personality.
Yeah.
And if you remove a big enough portion in the right place, their personality disintegrates. And those are people who've had massive brain injury. It's not something being done on purpose, as far as we know. But,
right.
It's like the whole life after death thing. That energy itself is utterly mindless.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fast matter, or matter is very slowed down energy. And the idea that this energy state could exist in a coherent way, like with organized thoughts, with an organized memory, etc., that without the brain appears to be impossible. And there is zero evidence of it existing, of such a thing being able to exist.
Right.
And I used to believe in this kind of we're energy beings and things. And the reason I dropped all of those beliefs was basically the more I studied, the more I learned about the real world, the more I realized that it was just pure magical thinking, wanting something from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And giving agency, this is something that disturbs me as well, is I usually goes with the people who think this way, the way we're talking about, that everything happens for a reason.
Oh, I hate that.
I do too. I really hate that one. And as I had a minor accident that caused me to have to go to the hospital where a very dangerous cancer was discovered. Now, talking to one of my primary chemo nurses, I told her the story of this fall, etc., and she said, everything happens for a reason, see? And I made the mistake of saying, well, I pointed out the number of things that would all have had to be working together.
Mm-hmm.
Inanimate objects that would have had agency, that is, they would have actually acted for a purpose. That's what agency is about. And that the utter impossibility of that many things, including inanimate objects that cannot make decisions and do things themselves, that all of those things combined to get me to the hospital so that cancer would be found, is pretty absurd.
Right.
Because if you think about it, in order for that to be true, it would mean that some overmind, whatever you want to call it, is controlling absolutely everything on the planet, including the pattern or the glide path that a leaf takes when it falls off a tree.
Right.
It really is that kind of control and planning. It's pretty absurd because those things do not exist in nature.
Right. These ideas, I find them to be tiresome.
Yeah.
Because they don't actually address anything of substance. They are more geared to basically making people feel better.
That's my assessment as well.
And it's something that my personal feeling is, regardless of whether or not you like an idea or not, would not change the truth of it.
Mm-mm. No amount of belief
Right.
will change the reality.
Right. Hi, Mickey. That's where I look at things, and this idea that we're energy, it is something that I had embraced it back when I was a Christian, and even when I walked away from it, because when I walked away from Christianity, I didn't immediately want to throw the God out, like the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, that's pretty common.
But for a while, I used the term when people would ask me if I believe in God, I would be, not yours. And,
Yeah.
and when they would ask me, basically, what are you? I would be, I'm a spiritual being currently inhabiting physical form. And they would look at me like I had three heads. And it amused me for a number of years. But they would constantly be trying to be pinning down on what it is that I believe. And I finally got disgusted with it and said,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm
It
an
wasn't your
atheist.
theology.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was one, I'm an atheist. Because I realized if I don't believe in this shit. And the deistic ideas weren't really making a whole lot of sense. Because it made no sense to believe in a mystical overseeing thing that is sitting back like this. Because if something would exist, I can't understand why or how it could sit back and be, I don't care. That would show a level of apathy for everything, and it would make me wonder, why did it even bother in the first place?
Yeah, but at the same time, if you were a scientist and you were doing a study that required you to build, uh, let's say, a large room that were full of all kinds of living things, because you're trying to build an ecology or whatever there. Um, there's an awful lot of things that would be important to some of the critters that live there that would not be important to you at all.
Right.
You wouldn't even notice because in a sense, they're too small. The even some insects have rudimentary brains. It's been proven recently that the honeybees, can count to 4, and they have a concept of zero, of nothing. And if you are looking over a world and something that could have created a universe, to that, we are microscopic.
Right.
And so just watching what happens, intentionally not happen, um, is, a scientist does that in his laboratory with critters all the time,
Mm-hmm.
with damn little thought given to what the critter wants.
Right. And that's where I personally feel the ideas that are put forward don't make a whole lot of sense as far as why anyone should go along with it. And one of the things I'm noticing is when I do anything in the chat room that I move away from the extreme that I have up, that it drops your picture and so forth, probably because the type of thing that is showing that I'm looking more at the web page that this is on YouTube, and not your picture. The crap. All right. I don't know why it's... All right, there it is. It's just... It's a goof... It's basically being goofy, and one of the things I've noticed just in the brief time we've been going is the trolls that were in before are... There are some trolls that are still coming in, and that 2-liter J, I've blocked him, and it's one... I don't know how many sock accounts this jackass has.
Yeah.
Because it's
Makes
like...
me wonder, is that all the person does with their life?
That really makes me wonder. It's like, what the hell? What type of lowlife would have 50 million different sock accounts? Because that's something Brett Keane did as well. And it's one of... Are these people that pathetic?
Yeah, they are. And, you know, Brett Keane was notorious for that.
But I had one, I don't know if you saw it before I removed them. Their name that was up was Sexy Ass Little Liar named Jesse.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
And they said about my Skype name, and it was like, I have that in the description section, so they're asking me for it. That makes no sense, because if they try and add me there after determining that they were a troll, because right after that they posted a message of, can you send me money? And I was, no, troll. Yeah. I mean, talk about pathetic.
Really?
And then it was, I was done with them.
Well, yeah. There's nothing to say after that. Except, no, goodbye.
Yeah.
If you're a nice person. If you're like me, it's fuck off.
Yeah, it's one I had let them... I'd given them a little bit of rope, and they posted something else, and I just was like, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the things I've found with the trolls is they will be completely off topic. They will be all over the board.
Oh, yeah.
It really...
I used to just automatically block. The first time I saw that being off topic and weird, they're just gone.
Yeah.
I you know, for myself, there's no reason to give them a second chance. Besides, if they want a second chance, they'll come back on another one of their socket channels.
Yes. Yeah, as that 2-liter J has shown. Because I've blocked him on multiple now. But it's just... I understand the idea of the afterlife, and people want to think that when you die that there's something else.
Mm-hmm.
But...
It's natural.
And...
to want it.
Yeah, and even... Because I've mentioned this because my girlfriend mentioned it to me, and I understand. I'm not a total heartless bastard.
Yeah.
I understand the desire to see... Like, for those that are close to their parents, to be able to see your parents again.
Yeah.
But the problem I have with it, the big problem I have with the afterlife, beyond the fact that I feel it sets people up to not value the life that they actually have, is that they will... Where was I going with that? The idea of wanting to have, well, the aspect of if the person, not everybody is attractive.
No.
And if in this afterlife, if you are like, let's say for example, someone is very overweight and they have a weight issue their whole life.
Yeah.
Well, in an afterlife, are they going to have a weight problem? Are they going to be looking like they did in life, or someone that had Down syndrome in life? Are they going to have Down syndrome in an afterlife? And
Yeah.
if they're not, how are you going to recognize them? And my girlfriend said you would recognize the energy, and I'm just kind of like,
Oh God.
okay.
Okay.
It's, and I don't understand that, but it's one of, okay. If people want to, I understand people have this, that they want to believe some things, and you have to try and make sense of it. Yeah, the aspect of they get a new body, but if the body does not look like the body that you had, how would anybody recognize what you look like or who you are?
Well, I'm kind of curious as to exactly how do you get a new body?
That it's a Christian idea of you'll
Oh,
get a new body and so forth. It's mentioned in the Bible of an incorruptible body, and I basically term it a puff of smoke in a grassy knoll. It's a bunch of,
yeah.
there's no reason to believe that this shit would actually be viable. The thing is, and the problem I have with all of it is this idea of a new body. If I wouldn't look like I do now, I wouldn't be who I am now.
That's right.
Because I identify who I am by the physical, what you see.
Yeah.
And even though I'm 44, I don't feel 44. But I'm wondering, I've never felt, in a sense, whatever age I was, then I don't, in a sense, I don't feel like I am. There are some days I feel like I'm 95. But,
Yeah. There's a sense in which people in our own minds are a bit ageless, in our own minds at
yeah,
least. And I mean, you know, I'm still shocked at times. I got up in the morning and I look in the mirror and I think, who the hell is that old fucker? And I really do, for just an instant, I'm shocked at that ancient white bearded face in the mirror.
hmm. But Mac, don't feel bad. I haven't
Oh no, I
shaved.
don't take it. It
I
ain't
haven't
personal.
shaved lately, and when I don't, the facial hair here is all white.
Oh yeah,
Getting old
those kind of
sucks.
things I don't worry about. I don't actually worry about any of that because I mean I've had a very good life. I don't regret things. I mean I had lots and lots and lots of friends when I was young, so I don't have any. Geez, I wish I'd wasted my life. I didn't get any or something, you know.
Yeah.
And I did all kinds of weird things. I did not live a normal life. And I feel so lucky that to be where I am and in the shape I'm in right now,
hmm
money and health wise, that, you know, I'm just lucky. And so I don't, I mean, I will make remarks about my appearance and stuff, but it's not something that actually bothers me. You know, it's not
Yeah.
like, I mean, because if it did, I wouldn't have this white hair on my face.
Right.
It's easy to shave off.
It is. It's just I hate shaving myself.
I do too. And that's my real reason for letting it grow. I just hate shaving.
But for me, the aspect with facial hair, it will, on me, it'll grow to a certain point and then it just frickin' stops. And I could go months without shaving and I would never look like you do.
Well, that's genetically programmed. How long your hair grows and how long your beard grows, where how much of it is, etc. That's genetically programmed.
Yeah, it's one I have no control over it, and it's like I have no hair on my chest, none on my back. But one of the things they pointed out when I was in the army, I don't really have hair in my ears, but on the frickin' outside of my ears.
Ah,
They had said about shaving your ears, and I was like, what? Because I will get hair growing on the outside of my ear. It's like, what the fuck am I? I mean, I guess
I've had a few of those.
monkeys have that, I guess. But fuck. For the most part, I'm a hairless ape. That's a good. Free Spirit asked a question in the room: do aborted children get a new body? That would be an interesting, and in a sense, the aspect of an aborted child.
Yeah.
If you look at it from the Christian mindset, with their belief system of if you don't believe in Jesus, you'll go to this hell type of shit, wouldn't it be better for them to kill their children that they would think are, and it's on the fence as far as are they going to believe in God, that before they reach this age of accountability, whatever the fuck that is, that if it looks like they're going to be one that doesn't believe, and it's better to kill them before they reach that age than to let them hit that age and, according to Christianity, be condemned for all eternity because they don't believe.
Well,
because after all, they could
always have a problem with things related to that. You know, it's like you bring up those stories in the Bible where God told Jews to, you know, even kill the babies, slash them, you know, slash them out of their mother's bellies and bash them on the rocks, etc.
Yep.
So I would bring this up with Christians and say, so this is your good God. And they would automatically say, oh, the little babies, they go straight to heaven. But, you know, and it's like nothing in the Bible says that. Nothing.
Yeah.
They make that up to make themselves feel better about it. Because the reality has got so much horror in it that most people actually live with their own personal Jesus and their own personal version of what it's all about.
Yeah, and that the God is a projection of their own ego.
Well, absolutely.
But the idea of aborted children, and I don't want to just breeze past that because according to the Christian doctrine, I'm just thinking it would be better for them to kill their kids because, after all, according to Christianity, they could kill them and then be, oh, Jesus, forgive me. And they're forgiven. The kid's in heaven, so the kid's not going to be going to this hell bullshit.
Yeah.
They have their loophole that you could drive 50 Mack trucks through at the same time. So in a sense, what is to stop them from doing that, even though in our society, to us, they would be a fucking monster? But based on their theology, they would be doing that soul type of thing a favor.
Yeah.
There's also the aspect, it doesn't really go in line with that, but in another way it does. These Christians that say about this idea that if you don't know about this God and Satan, that you can't be condemned, yet they'll intentionally push this bullshit on everybody. So so you have no excuse. You have to believe like us. Wait a minute, fucker. If I didn't know about this shit, and that would have given me the perfect out. Fuck you for coming up and telling me.
Yeah. Why'd you do that?
Yeah.
What a horrible fucking thing to do. Well, they have lots and lots of problems, and like this idea that no one but them and who's heard of Jesus, etc., can go to heaven, and
Yeah.
at the time that the Jesus fellow supposedly said that, which was also around the same time that he said that he would be returning. While members of his own generation were still on the planet.
Yeah.
They're still alive.
That you will not taste of death before you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the idea that nobody but the people that were true to him to heaven, that means that 99.999999999% of the people ever born go to hell.
Mm-hmm. It's a really vile idea.
Yeah. Well, hell is a vile idea.
And as I pointed out in the video that I did, Hell is Impossible. It really, for those that try to push that at me now, my big question to them is this afterlife physical or spiritual?
Yeah.
Because if it is spiritual, then fire can't be there. Because fire is a chemical reaction of physical elements maintained by physical oxygen.
Yeah.
If it's physical, prove it.
And you wouldn't feel it unless you were in a physical body.
Bingo. And it won't matter because I won't get there till I'm dead. And after I'm dead, my central nervous system is done. The brain is done. I won't feel a damn thing. Not to mention, and the funniest part with the idea that it's in the center of the Earth, the temperature of the core is about 6,000 degrees Celsius, which equates to 10,832 degrees Fahrenheit. But the maximum temperature that brimstone can be is 832 degrees, because then it turns to a gas.
Yeah.
And what's even worse than that, the aspect of with the core, you wouldn't even get to the core before your body would be vaporized.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's absurd. You got swirling molten iron. Yeah, swim through that. It's all absurdities. And even the idea, because since hell is supposed to be eternal punishment, if it were in the center of the earth, well, guess what? The earth is not eternal.
Right. In that regard, it's just not. And for you're seeing this on the YouTube page, when your picture drops for a little bit, I am basically getting rid of trolls.
Oh, yeah. You know what, man? I don't see anything but myself.
Okay. Holy crap. What do you got? Drag racing going on?
No, it's a very busy street. And there's just tons of really young, like 16 and 17-year-old Chinese guys whose fathers are super rich, who bought them a $200,000 or $300,000 lease car for their 16th birthday. They kill themselves with alarming regularity, but they do love to rush up and down the streets making lots and lots of noise.
Okay, and I just want to let Free Spirit know, basically, if the trolls come back, you have the power now to boot them, report them, all of that. I made you a moderator. because that's something that I think you can recognize them as quickly as I can. That way I won't have to switch off and potentially have that the Skype image with Mac drops. It's one, if you don't want that job, let me know and I'll change it, but the aspect, the as one of the things, I'm not even going to acknowledge that jackass, that 2-liter J.
Yeah.
He just fucking jackass. But anyway, what were you saying?
You don't think I remember, do you?
Well, you had said about the idiots on your street that they're pretty much.
Oh, well, that's all I had to say.
Oh, okay. But yeah,
it's just all really super young Chinese, rich Chinese guys, and as I say, they kill themselves all the time, racing in cars.
Oh.
Well, they're only 16 and 17 years old. They don't even know how to drive. And their father bought them a $200,000 muscle car for their 16th birthday.
And at that age, they think they're invincible.
Yeah, yeah. And they do kill themselves with alarming regularity.
Well, the Darwin Award.
That's how I see it.
But one of the things that was pointed out, I was watching videos with Joe Rogan, and he was doing a comedy bit, but what he said was actually true in the aspect of we are de-evolving. That the stupid people are outbreeding the smart people. And most of us would fall under the stupid people category because all the technology we use, could we rebuild it if we had to, type of thing?
Yeah.
And in that regard, that is just, we don't have the ability to recreate what we're using. So if we don't have it, if something would happen that, like, the internet would go down, or a problem with the computer,
digital blackout.
We don't have the ability to do anything. What's up, Mac? I can't hear you.
Oh, no, I was just thinking that if there were a complete digital blackout, we would be fucked.
Right.
Seriously screwed.
Because I'm good at philosophy and ways of thought, but you try giving me mechanics, I can't do shit. I can't fix a fucking thing. I'm not. Yeah. I'm not mechanical at all. And it's something that I think people really, we don't realize how in dumb we are regarding the technology that we're using, even like our cars and so forth. Most people, now back, like the car that I had when I turned 16, the Nova and so forth.
Yeah.
But I could work on that to a point. because there was one point my starter had gone and I sat on the engine and fixed it. I could take it out and so forth. But now, with the way cars are...
Right. You need all kinds of electronic machines to even know what's wrong. I had, when I was 16, my first car was a 1950 Chevrolet Deluxe.
Mm-hmm.
And I could, and I'm an idiot, but I could fix quite a few things. I changed my... I changed the brake pads and the brake cylinders. I did all kinds of things on the thing that I could not possibly do on a modern car. You open the hoods on a lot of them, you don't even, the engine is kind of covered.
Yeah. But just so
and
Mickey
it's all
knows...
electronic.
Yeah. So, Mickey, I made you a moderator as well. So, when you see these trolls... you can remove them as well, just in case I miss one or so. But yeah, the aspect with, and it's not even, the mechanics of it is just a fraction of what this is, because I'll admit I'm an idiot when it comes to mechanics. But I know philosophy, ways of thought, and how to recognize and how to think critically. But a lot of people can't. And the bad part regarding basically people that are stupid is they don't know they're stupid.
That's true. That is part of the disease.
Right. Like this 2-liter J. I'm sure he doesn't think he's a fucking retard. But he is. If you have even 3, 4, 5 accounts, you're a troll. That's what you are. Now, I should say if you use them as a way to basically harass someone.
Yeah, if you're not using it as just a passive backup channel.
Right, because I have multiple on Facebook, and it's not to bother anybody. It's more for, basically, I play games on Facebook. Yeah. And I have multiple accounts like the aspect that I've done videos on it, the pink monkey that I have a Facebook page for him, and for the crackers, crack monkey.
Yeah.
But with that, I couldn't do the name Crack Monkey. I couldn't get an email with Crack Monkey. It wouldn't. Yahoo wouldn't let it. Nowhere would let me have an email that's Crack Monkey.
Right.
And with Facebook, I had to do, for his name, Green Crack Monkey.
Right.
I couldn't have Crack Monkey as his name. But one of the things I want to bring in, and oh, brother, a person with the name I Am the Messiah, really? You're a troll. I mean, there's a level of stupid with the trolls that it makes me wonder, do these people have nothing to do?
I think that's true. I think they don't. They don't have anything that interests them. They don't have anything significant that something that motivates them to actually do something. And in the boredom of their existence, they actually get a thrill out of playing those incredibly stupid little games.
One of the things I find interesting with Facebook is the Facebook account that I had is either it is temporarily banned or it has been completely banned from Facebook, because of the picture at the bottom that you can see on the video page, I posted a picture of a woman, and I'll even, because Facebook before had done that they removed a picture and so forth because they had said that it was nude, or they had a fit with it because it was a woman's elbow in the tub. And the one that you see up now on the video is, I had that one, I had posted that. I had a cleavage lovers page that I made for basically for guys like tits. And what guy doesn't? But as you can see, she's not naked. But it comes down to her elbows. It's like those damn elbow nipples.
Oh, God.
Because that's what it appears to be. And what's worse is Facebook tries to blackmail you with your account where they want your driver's license.
Oh, fuck off.
That's what I told them. Fuck you. You have no right to my driver's license.
No.
Yeah, free spirit. That's what got my other... I'll have a link in the description bar below after this video. I'll put it in of a link to my Facebook page now, and it didn't have the word elbows, but it was that picture, and they said she was naked. And it's just really, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You call that naked? It blows me away how stupid Facebook is. Yeah. Here is... Okay, This was the original... This was the picture that they said she was naked. There it is.
I can't see it.
Oh, you can't? Well, if you be on the...
I don't see me. I'll check it out later.
Okay. But yeah, it's one... The idea that that's naked, no. I thought about it, and it's like, looking at it, yeah, you got those damn elbow nipples.
Yeah.
It boggles my mind.
They didn't actually look at it.
No. Because it was no sooner had I added that, and it wasn't even, I was adding things for like days ahead. And that was one that it was going to be for like a few days ahead. And as soon as I scheduled it, Facebook had pretty much blocked my account. It's one of... Are you fucking kidding me? Because I can show you, yeah, free spirit, I'm with you there. The aspect of it's art. There's nothing, even a naked female body, it's not anything bad. But what gets really bizarre with things like that is, and let me just find a good example of what I'm talking about, because there are others that I have posted that do push the envelope. Like that one. I had posted that, and it is a woman that over her nipples is tape. Because those dread nipples, they're horrible. Yeah, there is nothing wrong with the human body. And depending on where somebody is from, somebody that is over in Europe, pictures like this would be no big deal. And I would even think down in Mexico, they're like, so fucking what? But in this country, in the United States, it is almost like Victorian sensibilities, and it is. I find it disgusting.
Well, it's really weird too, because the United States is also at the same time the sin capital of the world.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it has this puritanical pretense.
Yeah. It really,
That's
I don't understand the hang up over, and what really disgusts me with Facebook, and it's not just Facebook, it's even with YouTube that I can deal with this. If, God forbid, I show nipples. The thing is, man boobs are fine.
Oh, yeah.
Nasty, ugly, hideous fucking man boobs, they're okay.
Yeah, I agree.
But you have a pair of women's breasts, and it's, oh my God, you're a fucking Antichrist. It's are you fucking kidding me?
Well, when people are really kind of repressed, they can sexualize absolutely anything.
That is the problem.
Yeah, it is. Because they can see something which in their mind is absolutely filthy and has very specific meaning, and nobody else sees that.
Right.
Because these people don't recognize they're projecting their own internal self when they freak out like that.
Mm-hmm.
Bullshit.
Yeah. The aspect, and I'll just pull up another picture that I'll have under you as well. It's a busty woman in a shirt that says "fork it," and with a pitchfork.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, the aspect, I don't understand the hang up, and especially the idea of, yeah, yeah, breastfeeding, that, but I don't think that would be the same for like a 44-year-old that would want to breastfeed. Yeah, I'm hungry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm very hungry. Very, very, very hungry. Well, my friend, we've been here. I've been here about an hour.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to toddle off so that I can smoke in peace.
Okay. Alrighty.
Okay, man.
Yep. Have a good one.
Yep. When I get my real computer back, I think things will be easier because I can flip screens and stuff that I can't do on this Android device.
Okay.
So, take care of yourself, Mom.
Yep. Have fun.
I will talk to you very soon.
Yep. Alrighty. And just because I'm no longer having Mac, it doesn't mean that I am having to close this out myself, because I haven't hit unless you guys are wanting this to be a short one, because the last few have been pretty much like 2-hour sessions. And I'm not opposed to that, because it's one I can talk about, and that's one of the things, and I did want to mention it, and this is as good a place as any. I have realized that the live videos are not a good place to try talking about something basically for the first time to introduce an idea. That's why I did the video yesterday on the what I called the cosmic life hypothesis, because that way, that video, I'll be able to get out what I'm getting at, and the live video can go wherever things would want to, wherever it would. I don't really care, because I would like. I mean, it's unfortunate that the only Christians that seem to come into this are ones that want to be trolls, and because I would actually like to be able to have, like, the live videos be able to be a bit of a debate between on a subject with someone that is religious or whatnot, but in a sense, with the live videos, I'm open to wherever things will go. But it's just a matter of, I don't see where, like, the idea, I've done videos on the afterlife and my views on that, and I do feel people believing in an afterlife will take away from the value that they would put on their actual life, and that it would cause them to not value their life. And that is where I see those ideas, that they are harmful. And one of the things I do want to pull this up, because it was a quote that I had seen on Facebook that I want to include, because it's one from the Atheist Experience, Jeff D. You have the right to your own beliefs. You do not have the right to your own facts. Facts are whatever it is that can actually be verified in the real world. I agree with that. And it's just unfortunate that the religious appear to want to have their own facts. And even people like Donald Trump, the aspect of alternative facts. It boggles my mind. But one of the things I also wanted to let you guys know is, I'm not in Texas, but this next hurricane, Irma, I think is the name of it, from what is projected, I'm in Pennsylvania. And that, if it goes by how they were predicting, pretty much I'm right in the crosshairs of where that sumbitch is gonna hit. I hope that bitch stays out to sea, because I don't have an ark built. But hopefully everything will blow over as far as that. But for those like Free Spirit and Mickey, what do you guys think of the idea of this asteroid that is going to be grazing and getting close to Earth on, I think it's like Friday, like next week? It's supposed to do a flyby. They use the term of like a near miss, but actually that's with as close, like, as it'll be closer to us than the moon. That's not a near miss, that's a near hit. George Carlin had mentioned that as like a plane colliding with something. It's like, they nearly missed, but not quite. The aspect of, it would be a better term to be a near hit. And it's an asteroid that is an asteroid that is about 3 miles across. It is what it is, can't do shit about it. Oh, you hadn't heard about the asteroid that's supposed to be doing a flyby of Earth? My girlfriend had mentioned that to me, and I'm just kind of cool. In some ways, I mean, there's been talk with asteroids and so forth. They've done movies about I think Armageddon was one that where they tried the blowing up an asteroid or whatnot. The problem with blowing up an asteroid is then you don't have one big rock, you have a lot of little rocks. And then that would create a lot of, even where you would have one big hunk of rock, you break it into multiple pieces, then you have a shitload that are going to be basically bombarding the planet, which could ultimately end up doing just as much damage, if not more so. So things like that, I find it to be basically the solar system is a shooting gallery. But yeah, it's one. I know the religious some have lost their frickin' mind over the eclipse. Yeah, but yeah, it's unsettling. But what are you going to do? I agree. I would look at it as if it would hit us, my attitude would be I'd want to be at ground zero. I don't want to be around for the pretty much aftermath of the nuclear winter and having to try and. They haven't projected it. They don't think it's going to hit. It'll be about, I think it's like 400,000 miles away from Earth, but it's close. It is a real close. Let me just see if I can pull it up. Asteroid near Earth 2017. It's a 3-mile wide asteroid to swing by Earth. There's Asteroid Watch on NASA. That what I'll do is pull this up and just have and okay, now you guys will be able to see it, and I will it is large asteroid to safely pass Earth on. Oh, it already happened. Yeah, it happened yesterday. But let's see if I can show a bigger picture of. Oh, hell, it was further out than I was hearing. It was close being over there, but I was hearing that it would be closer to us than the moon. But that's not even, I mean, that's a good distance of leeway there. The asteroid Florence, a large near-Earth asteroid, will safely pass Earth on September 1st at a distance of 4.4 million miles. And all of that, I mean, interesting. But yeah, there's nothing we could have done about it. If it was gonna smack Earth, we would be screwed. So there's that. But what I can do is I'll put it in. You hadn't even heard about this. So it was one of we could have been, to use the term, wiped out by an asteroid, and you wouldn't even have known that this shit was potentially coming. But the rapture of I hadn't heard about. Is that this year, Free Spirit? I would assume, since you're mentioning it, that it's supposed to be 2017. But the aspect of the day, this rapture day, in fact, we can touch on this briefly. This idea of a rapture, I recognize these Christians love their runaway doctrine, but it is ludicrous. And it's ludicrous with their own Bible. And once my eSword loads, I'll show you this, because this is something I had talked to Mickey about the other day. Okay. Now, for the purpose, while I have this up, I won't be able to see the comments, but this is something that I had mentioned it to Mickey the other day. This is in 1 Corinthians 15:52. They pulled this as a rapture scripture type of thing, but it says very clearly, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. And the big thing that I try to raise with people is, if something is the last, if you say something is the last that it will be, then can you really say it can happen any minute? It can't happen any minute if it's the last thing that's going to happen. Because if it's not the last, then if you use the term that something is the last, like if you're going to be the last one in line for something, you can't be in line at any time or at any minute, because you would be the last. It's like I've gotten emails from different jackass companies that have started off, the first one I get from them, this is the last email, and I'm just kind of like, okay, so I ignore them, and then I get another one, and I had responded to him with one of, do you understand what last means? If you're going to tell me this is the last something, then you can't have anything after that. Otherwise, last has no fucking meaning. But there's also, and I'll pull this up again, the aspect of, because the aspect of if you're going to be changed and so forth at this last trump, it would be at the final one, whatever this last one is. But then there is this 2 Thessalonians, oh, that's Timothy. Okay. 2 Thessalonians 2:3. And just to, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there be a man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And then further down in there, it says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan and all that shit. The thing is, They want to try and say it can happen any minute. Wait a minute. First, what is last? These Christians need to understand what the word last means. Additionally, if these things can only happen after some man of sin is revealed, then for one, you can't say that it'll happen at any time. Or even that it would happen on this September 23rd type of thing. Because if it's going to happen on this, like September 23rd of a rapture day, then according to the stupid bullshit Bible, this shit, one, this man of sin would have to be revealed. And this Satan figure would have to be revealed. We would have to be having him here showing these signs and lying wonders and all this shit, because this is after. Not before, after. After means after. Because the God is a sadistic bastard, that the God will send strong delusion that they should believe a lie. Wait a minute. If this God is all-knowing, then it wouldn't be a matter of should, could, or would. It would be a matter of it would know. They are going to. And this idea, but with Christianity, it's a crock of shit. It's a puff of smoke in a grassy knoll. But this is where they don't. What is the Trump? Well, basically the aspect, let me pull this up again and go back to. I'm thinking it's along the aspect of a trumpet, but I don't want to say definitively without having. Okay. The word trump comes up as this, a trumpet, yes. It would be the aspect of a trumpet, the last trumpet. This blowing of the trumpet and all that happy shit. And the thing with this is the dead will rise. I mean, we're talking Night of the Living Dead here. And the aspect of we will be changed. And I think it's... yeah. And the verse above that, verse 51, behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, which that word of sleep is the Greek word that you see there. And it says to put to sleep, or figuratively, and be dead. Pretty much decease. Or be dead. Yeah, we're not all going to be dead. But we shall all be changed. All. Not some, not a few. All. This wouldn't be just good little Christians. All. And that's where... can I pull up all? Yeah. Let me just make this bigger so you guys can see it. This is all. Wouldn't think I'd need a definition for all, but every. The whole, all manner of. That is not pointing to individual people or a group. Well, that's the claim was made that the dead rose when this Jesus came out of the ground, this Jesus rose, but there's no evidence to support that that ever happened. What is it? Bill Hicks Jr.? Okay. But, yeah, it's just the idea of this Night of the Living Dead type of shit. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And the idea that there is some kind of, well, this whole rapture idea didn't exist until about the year 1830. But it was a woman named Margaret MacDonald that had first put forward the idea of this rapture thing. And one of the things I can there was a woman around 1830, she died in 1840, named Margaret MacDonald, that pretty much invented this idea of a rapture. That it didn't exist prior to her, and it is something that there's I'm just curious. Oh, it's PD. I can get this. There was a PDF. Oh, actually, oh, can you get? Oh, if I can show you guys the PDF of this, I'll do it. Because yes. All right, I will post the link for where to go to get this PDF. Now it's and it'll show you a picture of this book, but I'll have it in the description bar below that you can see this. And then if you want, you can download it. Just to make sure before I post that, I do want to see if it is okay. It looks like I'm not gonna trust that. Okay, pretty much never mind that one. I'm gonna see if I can find this book, The Incredible Cover-Up, on PDF without, in a sense, without bullshit. Because it shouldn't need to be downloaded. Wait a minute, there it is. Just to make sure that it will. That's taking me back to the same shit. Alright, I don't like that. Because my experience with PDFs is you should be able to see it without, yeah. Alright. But the The book is called The Incredible Cover-Up, where it goes into basically that this idea was something that Margaret MacDonald had said. Wasn't it her father that said it because of her dream? That I'm not sure. But from what I'd read this book years ago, and it was basically there were two preachers that were there. It might have been her father that had said it. Let's see if there is, okay. I'm going to post this because it does show, it's an Angel Fire webpage, so basically take it for what it's worth. This will be in the description bar. And it is the origin of the secret rapture theory. And, okay. There. That is in the description bar that you can see this origin of the secret rapture. And it mentions the author of The Incredible Cover-Up, Dave McPherson. And it's something that I find it interesting that we have clear evidence that this idea came about in 1830. So when Christians try and say that this goes back to the first century, they're flat out lying. There's just no two ways about it. They're straight up lying. Because we have clear evidence that this idea simply didn't exist before 1830. So, who's to ensure that the end shall be... Wait a minute, what's that? Who's to ensure the end shall be saved? Oh, who's to... Well, the aspect with the claims made by Jesus, they're empty, because he failed to do what he said. And let me just pull up the E-sword quick, because it's actually mentioned in Deuteronomy. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I am right about the chapter. It's just... Okay. Deuteronomy 18:22. When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Lord, if the thing not follow or come to pass, that is a thing which the Lord hath not spoken, but the prophet hath spoken presumptuously, thou shalt not be afraid of him. And it's just something that I find interesting. That with the Jesus claims, that what we have is a matter of he did not fulfill what he said he was going to. So there is no reason, based on what's in Deuteronomy, there's no reason to believe him. And it's just one of There is one thing else that I want to... And it's just one... Oh, okay, that's... One of the things I want to touch on as well is this idea of interpretation. I've mentioned it in the other video, but okay, Free Spirit, to address what you were saying is the claims made by Jesus, they can be ignored completely, because based on Deuteronomy 18:22, if somebody, to use the term a prophet, predicts something that doesn't happen, basically it tells you don't believe them. It is something that they made up. So there's no reason to believe what they're claiming. But the idea that, and it's something that I had dealt with, and Free Spirit, I think you were the other one that was dealing with this chick that was trying to say everything was an interpretation. And I found it funny that she tried saying that I used a straw man, but then when you had asked her about what's wrong with atheism, that what she gave, the answer she gave as to what was wrong with atheism was a straw man. It was 100% a straw man. And I had said to her, you might have seen the dialogue with her of, where did I do a straw man argument? I was like, show me where it is, because I wanted to see, and I said this, I want to see if you're trying to call an analogy a straw man. Basically one of, do you not know the difference between an analogy and a straw man? The analogy that I used was when I had said that it would be like, say, the idea of interpreting, that you interpret everything, then that's like saying you've interpreted everything I've said as, oh, he's just reading 50 Shades of Grey. That's an analogy. It's not trying to say that you are, it's using it as an example. And if that is what she was trying to say was a straw man, that indicates to me she doesn't know what a straw man is. Oh. And what is your view on the hypothesis that the original Christians were communalists who survived via collectivism and communal living? That is a probability. That is highly probable that it was a communal type, that was... I've heard the hypothesis that the character of Jesus dying wasn't to save the world, but to save his followers. That if he wouldn't have been killed, his followers would have been. So he basically sacrificed himself, not for the world, but for them. And that is possible, but under what I understand of Jewish law, regarding what he had said, his disciples would not have been in danger, really. It's him. He would have been the one that was pretty much guilty of blasphemy and other, to use the term, sins, because he was Jewish. So in that regard, it would have been him that would have been facing, because according to Judaism, according to Deuteronomy 18:20, I can even pull that up quick and you guys can see it, is, because I actually have it right here, where it says, but the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not given him to speak, or that prophet speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die. It's made very clear. There's no getting around it. There's also Deuteronomy 21, verses 22 and 23. If a man hath committed a sin worthy of death, he is to be put to death, and thou shalt hang him on a tree. His body shall not remain upon the tree, but thou shalt bury him in that day, for he that is hanged is accursed of God. There is absolutely, that would be why Jesus wasn't hanging overnight, is it was part of Jewish law, because as far as the Romans would have been concerned, they would have left him there for days. The vultures would have taken him down. But it was the law of the Torah that the Jews would have said his body has to be taken down. So, hang them on a pole or on a tree, because, let me just check quick, because you could very well be right. Well, the aspect of a tree, it does indicate a tree from its firmness, wood, plural, carpenter, gallows, pine, plank, staff, stick, stock, timber, tree, wood. So pole, I would see that as it's a possible other definition or way it could be taken. Because a pole would also be wood, so it wouldn't be, and there were enough definitions in there that you could, pole is just another word that they didn't throw in, but very easily could have been. But the aspect of a communal type of living, yeah, it's very probable that the disciples and so forth were, well, the aspect of an antichrist, I chuckle at that. And I don't mean to be insulting when I chuckle at that. But I can explain to you why I chuckle at that. And it's very simple. And it comes back to Isaiah, I think it's chapter 2. Yes. This is why I chuckle at the idea of an antichrist. This is what the Messiah was to do. And he shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. They shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. That right there, we still have war. And because we still have war, there is no Messiah. There is no Christ. And since there isn't a Christ, there can't be an Antichrist. There's also, the third temple has never been built. The whole world doesn't believe in the Jewish God. Jesus wasn't born of a Jewish father and Jewish mother. Christians are showing that they misunderstand the word virgin, because there are two Hebrew words that are translated as virgin. I've done different videos on this where I show with the e-sword, like I was doing just now, where I show you what the word is in Hebrew. And the one in Isaiah chapter 7 verse 14 is the Hebrew word Alma. And that is the Hebrew word for a young woman. A young woman giving birth is not a miracle. That is commonplace. It happens every day. There is another Hebrew word that means a sexual virgin, and that is spelled Bethulah. And there are specific places that is mentioned. What this aspect of virgin birth really shows is Christians don't know Hebrew. And it's something, honestly, I didn't know about this aspect of the word virgin being an issue until I did interviews with the expert on Judaism, Mark Powers. And he had enlightened me on that. But the aspect, it's a running joke in the anarchist. Oh, you're an anarchist. Okay. I'm sorry, I got a little bit sidetracked. I saw anarchist and thought antichrist. But anarchist, okay. Well, in that regard, I have a friend of mine that uses the term of being an anarchist. And I have a bit of an issue with anarchy because it is, by definition, lawlessness. It is no laws, no rules. And in a truly anarchistic society, basically anyone that would piss you off, you could kill them and there would be no laws. That it would be, basically we'd be reverting back to pretty much Wild West days, or even going further back than that. And I think that type of society would directly lead into a feudal type of government. That it is destructive. It's not something that would lead to the betterment of a society. I would like to. I need to get in touch with Mark and talk to him again. But I would definitely like to do a live stream with Mark. It would probably, my thought would be, it would be earlier in the day than I do them with this. Stefan, that he had no rulers, not no rules type of deal. Well, I can look up anarchy in that regard and touch on that more, because the aspect of self-rule, in a lot of ways, we do govern ourselves. Because the number of police versus the number of people, we have far more people in the society than we do police. So, yes, for most of us, we do self-govern. We just do so within the confines of the law. But Varg, anarchy would probably not work in the very small societies where everyone would probably work only in, okay, I get Varg, I get what you're saying, and that is possible. There are laws under anarchism. Only the colloquial definition states chaos. Anarchy opposes three things: capitalism, the state, and hierarchy. There is still a government under anarchy, generally direct democracy. Okay, I would be interested in finding out more about what you're defining as anarchy. That type of thing, the friend of mine that terms himself an anarchist would probably agree with it. And it's something that I'm receptive to it. Yeah. Free spirit. I've also learned a great deal from the videos and interviews that I've done with Mark. Okay. What's a minarchist? Or minarchist. What's that? I'm not exactly sure. Or is that, because looking at it, I would be wondering, is it the aspect of near a monarchy. Oh, they're great authors. Okay, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily, as far as Stefan, I'm familiar with him, and I know he does a lot with philosophy, but I don't know if he would be falling under, to use the term, a great author. He might be an author at best, but the great aspect, yeah, I tend to say no. Because he doesn't, as far as, other than having an internet or a YouTube following, I don't see where he has, in a sense, made a name for himself in the real world. Oh, a minimalist. Or, okay, they want a minimal, practical. Okay, in the aspect with government, yes, I would want minimal government. By all means. I mean, I am definitely opposed to bigger government. I think the more government is involved, the less freedom people have. But I don't agree with socialism. Because I think communities and society itself can basically help its own. And that type of thing would be the way to go. Because I don't agree with the aspect of a hand out, but the aspect of a hand up, that would be a different issue. The helping somebody to be able to lift them up to a better place, and then they can in turn help others. But Stefan isn't too great. Noam Chomsky, okay, I'm familiar with him. Practically annihilated himself. He's the fringe, right-wing, libertarian sort. I just named the arbiters of the anarchist thought. Okay. Okay, yeah, those other names they don't mean anything to me, but I'll definitely look into the aspect of anarchy, because as of right now, I can't really take a position on it because there's a lot of things that I'm not sure of. And if I'm not sure on something, I will, in a sense, hold off on, to use the term, making a judgment, because I can't. I can't really judge something until I have the facts regarding it. Well, the problem I have with socialism is that it is very government dependent. It is looking for basically the government to take care of you from cradle to grave. And I don't agree with that. Okay, I find that interesting that anarchism societies are inherently socialistic. The problem with socialism is that it, like I said, it has you dependent on the government from cradle to grave. And I think that the more a person depends on the government, the less personal freedom they have. They have to sacrifice their personal freedom for pretty much the government tit. And I think people are better off if they're not on the government tit. That there might be a period of time that people would need to be having assistance or a help up. But too many in our society have gotten to where they look at that assistance as a lifestyle. Okay, communism is what does come through from socialism. Socialism leads to communism. And that's one of the reasons why I am opposed to socialism. Because under communism, you have no freedom, you have no rights. It's only dictated by the state. And in that regard, and if communism can lead to anarchism, it basically seems like you're on a negative path. It seems like you're pretty much on a downhill spiral. All right, Night Free Spirit. I'm going to be wrapping this up anyway, but malicious data, I find it interesting what you're mentioning, but I have issues with the aspect of socialism, communism, and if anarchism would be the next in line from communism, basically I see it as a shit shoot. That you have things that are getting inherently negative, and that they are more and more taking away the freedom of people. I don't see where you could go from communism, that is, people have absolutely no freedom, to anarchism being something that is about personal freedom. It would seem to be that it would be about even less freedom. Yeah, the Soviet Union is a prime example of what communism, not socialism, that was straight up communism. It might have started as socialism, but it had degraded into straight up communism. And China is another one, the aspect of straight up communism. China, North Korea, because that leads to, especially like North Korea, those people have no rights. They don't have access to the internet like we do over here. It is so controlled and so dictated by Kim Jong-un, the crazy bastard that runs that country. I don't see where that would lead to anything but a negative society. Communism is not stateless. Communism is definitely run by the government. That's where under communism in the Soviet Union, you could be rounded up and shot for talking against the ruler. Under communism, and in North Korea, you can be imprisoned and so forth because of speaking against the leader, just like in North Korea. You can be killed for saying things against Kim Jong-un. Okay, the thing is, it all seems to be, that seems to be far more political, and I can look into it, but for the most part, I don't really touch on things like that. But I'm not interested in ideas that take away people's freedom. I am interested in more freedom, not less. And it is something that I think, to try and cloak anarchy under democracy is, at least from what you have told me, it would seem intellectually dishonest to try and have it as a progression from communism and then at the same time try to claim that it is a democracy and that it is somehow better. Because I don't see how you can go from something that is inherently restrictive to something that would be a freedom base. Especially when it seems to be progressively worse. That communism is worse than socialism, and on that path, it would seem anarchy would be worse than communism. So in that regard, it would be something to be avoided, not something to be embraced. But I'll look into it more and see what I find as far as that goes. the thing is, like I said, I'll look into it. It's not something that I can definitively say, but based on what you had said, it is something that I would be leaning against. But this is really going into a direction that it's not anywhere close to what the purpose of this video is, and that is where the Communist Manifesto, I'll look into it, but pretty much don't hold your breath as far as me having anything positive to say about the Communist Manifesto, because I do not agree with communism. That's just not how I am. That's not the type of thing that I support. But, alright, feel free to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Later, everybody.